So why am I a nomad? You know, that's a good question. And I talk a lot about the fact that I am a nomad. Well, the truth is, I think it's something that both chose me and that I chose. What I mean by that is that this is just always the way I've been. Now, I haven't always lived on the road full time, but I have always been a nomad at heart. And I've always traveled as much as possible. I don't think I've ever turned down a road trip in my life. And, you know, I'm just always looking for that next adventure on the road, going somewhere new. Going all the way back to childhood, I loved going new places, thrilled at the prospect of a road trip. As a teenager, my brother and I would have, you know, debates about the ideal lifestyle when we grew up. He wanted a house, and he now has a farm in upstate New York, and nice stability. I wanted to live in the woods. That was my career goal as a teenager, was to live in the woods. And, you know, to be honest with you, it hasn't changed. And now I'm doing it. I did not envision doing it quite this way when I was a teenager. You know, the way I do it has evolved, but that was my objective. And I don't think in my whole life I've ever passed up a road trip. I've always gravitated towards jobs that were on the road. A number of years ago, I passed the 1,000,000-mile mark in my personal driving, both between personal vehicles and jobs. I just have been on the road a lot, you know. I've lived in vehicles off and on for many years. Sometimes cars. When I had several months back in 2000, I lived in a 1974 VW van bus. Not the Vanagon, just the plain old bay window passenger bus. Did a little bit of tweaking in it, and that was before we had these kind of resources that we have these days, so it was much more difficult to figure out how to do things. But I did it for a while, and you know, so I think what happened for me is I ended up going back and forth, and then along comes the prevalence of the internet and some of these resources that are available, and you start seeing how other people are doing it, and you realize, hey, I really can live the nomadic lifestyle I want to live in a number of different ways. Now, lots of people who are full-time vanning, for example, are disabled or on Social Security or otherwise retired, or they're just doing it temporary as a long vacation, a year, you know, multi-month or year-long vacation using savings. I'm a digital nomad, and that's a growing demographic. We are digital nomads. Are professionals who earn their living using computers and usually the internet, and as a result of that work can be done anywhere. So we don't need to be sitting in an office somewhere. We can be sitting in the forest like I am right now, or in the desert, or wherever, you know, and anywhere you have electricity and internet access. So I work, you know, pretty much full-time, sometimes not quite full-time, sometimes more than full-time, depending on my workload in a given week or a month. But, you know, I work to support myself, and I do that as a digital nomad. So that allows me to enjoy this nomadic lifestyle while I'm not yet retirement age and I'm not yet independently wealthy. And I should also distinguish between there's a difference between nomads and van dwellers, although there is overlap. There are more than one way to be a nomad. Van dwelling is only one of those ways. And on the other side of that coin, there are van dwellers who are not nomadic. They stay in one place. So they're not; those two things are not really. There's overlap, but they're not the same thing. So I'm going to talk more about why I'm a van dweller in a separate video. But as far as this video, why I'm nomadic, the bottom line is just that I can't stand sitting still. At best, if everything's going good, within 2 or 3 months, I'm going crazy and have to get on the road. I just have to go. And I always wonder what's around over that next mountain or that next hill or around that next bend in the road. That's just the way I've been my whole life. And I just have to do it. And I get really agitated and stressed out if I'm stuck in one place for too long. So you start talking about things like a 6-month or a year lease on an apartment or house, I break in a cold sweat. There's no way I'm agreeing to live anywhere for a year, because I'm not staying anywhere for a year. Not going to happen. I just get bored and want to move on. So that's me. I've been a nomad at heart my whole life. I've been a nomad full-time on the road now for, I'm approaching 2 years. I've done it part-time or full-time for temporary periods, you know, my whole life, and now I've just, you know, the kids were grown. I decided it was time to get on the road and go out and see what I want to see, and see what's over that next mountain or around that next bend in the road, and then the next mountain or the next bend in the road after that. So why I'm a nomad? So it's a lifestyle that I chose, and it's a lifestyle that chose me, you know, from childhood. It's just the way I'm wired, the way I tick, and that's that. So, you know, that's why I'm a nomad. It's just can't do anything else. So I hope that answers your question. If you're wondering why I chose this, maybe or just in general why people choose to be nomads. I think I've heard other people say similar things. It's just the way they are. You can't stand to sit still, can't stand to stay in the same place. Just like some people crave stability, others of us crave that next adventure, the next you know, change in scenery. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little chat, and I'll see you in the next video, everybody.